Spacebit and Copernic Space, we are sending a physical copy of US Constitution to the moon.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Hunter. I'm actually based here in Florida, but every month I'm always going to really cool different conferences, learning about crypto, and this is my first experience actually learning about like space and how it can all combine. It's important to go back to the moon because maybe we can learn something different, and it's also just to get back out into space and like just get away from Earth and learn something new. Yeah, I mean, Earth is fun, but you know, space is big. There's a lot out there. We should really go exploring and just advance humanity as best as we can. We have no idea like what we don't even know yet, which is crazy just to even think about. But like I said before, like space is huge, and just to go out into space, whether we go to the moon, go to Mars, or just go well beyond, there's so much to do and just so much to see. The best way to advance humanity is just by getting out there and exploring. This right here is a bull. So I am actually with Tron DAO, which is a blockchain company, and we're very bullish, not just on the industry, but on humanity as a whole going into space. So this is a bull, and you can see here, this is the T for Tron, and this is our logo. So yeah, I do have a banana and some duct tape in my backpack, which is a Doge bag. Yes. But the duct tape banana, it was actually just bought recently in New York City for $6.2 million. It was bought by the creator of Tron DAO. He bought it for $6.2 million, and he ended up eating it in Hong Kong. But it's just a duct tape banana art piece that ended up going viral, and now I carry around a banana and duct tape with me everywhere I go to paste it in random fun spots and take pictures and just like really spread awareness of that art piece. I'll find somewhere really cool, I'm not sure where just yet, but in a really good spot, take a really good photo.
My name is Andrew Paris. I live in Houston, Texas. I am here as part of Copernic Space. I'm actually also involved with an organization called the Inspired 24. It's a group of people trying to help each other fulfill their dreams of flying in space. And as part of that, I used my passports with Copernic Space to send the I-24 Team Mosaic, which is our crew logo made up of everyone's face. And we put it on the Blue Ghost lunar lander from Firefly. And that's why I'm here tonight. Oh, I can give you hundreds of reasons why it's important. The most important is that before we go to Mars, going to the moon lets us prepare for going to Mars. All the technologies we need to use to get to Mars, to survive on Mars and come back, we need to test them out before we go. Otherwise, you go out there and have a problem, you can't get back. But if you use the moon base as a way to test your hardware, your software, and all your technologies, then you're doing it basically in your backyard. But another reason we're going to the moon is we found water ice on the South Pole. And wherever you find water ice, you can live. You can put people there and live. Because water ice can be, you can melt it down and purify it and then drink it. And right now the International Space Station is recycling 96% of the water. So that's a real benefit. But plus you can take that water, you can also make electricity with it. And you can also make rocket fuel out of it. So it's a natural place to start when you're trying to explore the solar system. And the great thing is they found water ice on Mars, they found water ice in the asteroid belt. Water is everywhere in our solar system, so it's an important factor for our exploration. Space is our future. I mean, it's hard to argue that it's not, because that's where everything is going. Our future economy, our future society, everything is going to space, because we basically have done everything on Earth, and we need to continue our natural urges to explore. And so space is the future, and getting involved now is the best time.
My name is Henrik Dabrowski. I am a space fan and close friend with Pablo, a space enthusiast and space investor. Live here in Miami with multiple investments in the space industry, and super excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to celebrate this. Not only that, I'm Polish origin, so Copernic Space is very important as well. Not only because of my background, but my father was born in Torun in Poland, which is the a birthplace of Copernicus as well. So when I had the opportunity to be invited here and help both Grant and Pablo in this event, I took the opportunity. I'm super excited about the things that they're doing, the opportunity to tokenize assets in space, which is a very big industry and a big frontier, and as well as the things that SpaceBit is doing with the robots and other things. So I'm happy that you guys here in Florida. Welcome to the Kennedy Space Center, which is something we're very proud, and very excited that you guys can continue investing and growing the space industry as a whole. Oh, going back to the moon is important for multiple reasons, but the most important ones are we need to establish a base in the moon in order to explore other planets. We cannot launch things directly from Earth, so the moon is a staging and relaunching place. The second, the moon is a source of potential elements that we need on Earth, like H3, hydrogen-3, deuterium, in order to do fusion energy. And lastly, I think it's important, as long as we can keep politics aside, that it transform itself as an extension of what we do on Earth, but in a neutral way. No politics, no governments, no citizenships. Space influential influences are present today. A lot of the technology and the things that we use today come from space technology developed for space exploration. In the future, space is going to open the realm of multiple things, from how to produce energy, how to produce and manufacture food. It's very difficult. When it comes to microgravity, how to synthesize pharmaceuticals or metallic alloys that in space behave differently. There's no gravity in space, so metals don't behave the same way. And lastly, our ability as a human species to potentially survive may not be on Earth, but potentially in other celestial bodies. As long as it's in the solar system. I don't think that in our human life, we will be able to see intergalactic or interstellar space travel.
Well, we're not only going back to the moon, we're going to the moon to stay. So this time we're going there and we're building the base on the moon. Many countries will be participating, not only US, but with partnerships with many other countries as a part of the Artemis Accords. Ukraine, UK, you name it. And it's very important for commercial partnerships, for companies like SpaceBit to take part in NASA activities as well. So we're building our robots, we're taking our small part in what will be the future of human settlement on the moon. Well, I believe we live in space, right? Our planet is moving in space, and that's something that we don't understand. We believe that we are not in space. Actually, we are. And we have to think about the survival, about where we're going next, about our civilization, where we get our resources. How do we go to stars? And I believe the moon is the first step towards our greater goals of going to another solar systems, of seeding the human life on other planets. We are sending the United States Constitution to the moon as part of the SpaceBit and Copernicus space mission. Now we are sending it in a digital format, and in less than 12 months we will send a physical version of US Constitution to the moon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm grateful and feel blessed for the opportunity to be here. It is an honor to be here with the people related directly to space. My company is launching a charity project aiming to improve literacy and level of medicine in the third world countries. It includes online education programs, medicine online and charity programs. And all this wouldn't be possible without NASA satellites. So thank you, NASA, for making our dreams come true.
Sanjana from the Hard Kiss, Ukrainian rock band, and some of Ukrainian music for you tonight. This is a big honor for me to be here tonight and to represent you a little small bit of Ukrainian culture, and to be a witness of humanity progress, and to understand that very talented Ukrainian people are the part of this progress. And today, when our motherland is in a cruel war, it is so important to send such a positive messages to people, to inspire them. I'm sure that this news, these events like here tonight, inspires millions and millions of people, not only in Ukraine, but all over the world. Thank you.
Copernic Space and Lady Rocket Foundation are sponsoring sending Ukrainian flag to the moon. I am Lady Rocket. Hey, how are you? Thank you. And you know what? I have to take this video because you look absolutely amazing. Especially in an amazing place, Kennedy Space Center. Yes, we are making a history. We've opened moon to all of us, to music, to art. Here is my art, I am even wearing it. It has moon, Bitcoin, Lady Rocket, and this is an example of what Copernic Space does, with my little help, transforming, integrating crypto, Bitcoin, space, and bringing some fun and art into our everyday mission. I want to thank you for being here. I am deeply moved seeing all of you here. Copernic Space passport holders, friends, new friends. It is my deep honor to introduce Grant Blaisdell, my son, my partner, CEO of Copernic Space. Introducing my son, one and only Grant Blaisdell, and his dad is in the back, so also bravo to Pavel. Thank you. You know how people feel.
First off, I want to thank Pablo, SpaceBit, our sponsors, and most of all of you for being here. Give them and yourself a round of applause before I get going. And why are we here? We're really here to make you stakeholders in this new space economy and bring that same opportunity to the wider commercial investor and even consumer market. Why? Because the genius guys creating the most important innovations and solutions for Earth through space, which has always been the case, depend on you, need you just as much as you need them. Who am I? Okay, who's the crazy guy and his mother on stage here? I've been doing startups since I was 19 years old. I know I look pretty good for my age, but I'm nearing 40 right now. Okay, so it's been for a good portion of my life. Originally, I was focused on digital media platforms and marketplaces. How do we create the new models and standards and marketplaces for how digital IP, digital content, what we can even call digital assets, are distributed, monetized, and how that monetization goes back to the rights holders and creators of those particular assets. That's what got me in blockchain 10 years ago. So I'm what you call an OG in this space, and previously responsible for ventures like CoinFirm, which is a leading big data analytics platform for crypto and blockchain assets. This lovely young lady that came up and spoke before me, you noticed his same last name, is my mother. Okay, someone who brings her own visionary track record of leading major tech companies across the globe, as well as being responsible for major innovations in the tech space, as well as being a pioneering space philanthropist. And this whole foundation, everything that we're here right now for, is actually built on the 3-generation legacy. Okay, so Lady Rocket's father built the original space program in Poland in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and had the first works I know of around the concept of democratizing access to space. Those are the values, the roots that this company and what you guys are experiencing right now were built on. Okay? And what did we realize through our own activities on the ground as entrepreneurs, investors, philanthropists through the Lady Rocket Foundation? About 10 years ago, we realized, as a lot of some of the wealthiest, smartest guys in the world have, space is going to become one of the largest and most valuable markets, and what we're creating, asset classes in the history of mankind. On one end, you have those hundreds or thousands of emerging space ventures and entrepreneurs, once again doing what space has always done, just maybe doesn't communicate very well, which is creating the most important solutions, innovations that improve life on Earth. On the other end, there's people such as you, some of you here. There's millions of space enthusiasts, companies, investors that want access, can benefit from access, etc. Thing is, though, is no one's created that connection. Okay? No one's created what I call the economic infrastructure and the marketplace that enables the new liquidity models and the commercialization models for what these space ventures do. Okay? NASA can't pull it by itself. VCs can't pull it by itself, and the model is not built for space properly. So we understood that the biggest opportunity maybe of this century is how do we create the horizontal, the macroeconomic solution that fuels these genius guys like my grandpa building those verticals and empower them to create those solutions, those innovations that benefit you here on Earth. And really, at the end of the day, we're here to scale this market. Okay, how do we take this market from a few cool transactions and how we turn it into millions of transactions every day across the global commercial and consumer market? So how do we tackle that? We decided that we're going to start building the marketplaces and implementing this stuff. So first thing we did is we built something called Space Mart. This is for real world space assets. What does that mean? Here's the cool opportunity around space. We're at the beginning stages. We get to even define the terminology that we're creating in this new market. So real world space assets, what is that? Well, one thing, if you're experiencing our moon mission, you're experiencing real world space assets, right? So that's the payload space, the payloads themselves, the countless billions of dollars in satellite imagery, data, etc., that isn't properly utilized, the countless billions of dollars in intellectual property and research that exists in space that is not being accessed and properly utilized. That's called Space Mart, okay? What fuels that, what provides the liquidity, the new investment models that reward both liquidity providers, investors, as well as these space ventures in a sustainable way is what we call Space Pool. That's what powers what we call financial space assets. So what have we done since 2020? Well, my mother and I did something we're quite good at, which was we started communicating our vision and value to the market. And what did the market do? The market started speaking to us. First companies that came was for companies that were ironically doing moon missions, okay? So we look at all this as building standards for a whole new market, asset class, economy. So we built the physical, what I call the physical payload standard. How do I take physical assets like space and rockets, fractionalize them, enable a wider segment of the market to access them, and then turn the payloads themselves into assets with its own marketplace? So we did that with Lunar Outpost. Eventually we launched it successfully, did a proof of concept with a European rocket company the other year. Then we realized with our great vision that digital space capacity computation is going to be even more scalable and in demand. So we built that for digital. And that's what's happening with our moon mission right now. You're watching a new player in the space market prove an entire standard for the market themselves. And guess what? I funded it in an alternative way, a financial space asset, okay? I went to an investors, I said, hey, I want to get this payload. Here's how I'm going to commercialize it. Here's your return. And that's how we did it. right? So we funded it on one end, rewarded the investors on the other end, bought the real world space assets, fractionalized it, commercialized it to a whole different segment of the market, okay? So we built a circular economy solution for what we're doing in space. And what came out of it, okay? We have dozens and dozens of companies, individuals, etc., all across the world that not only have now accessed a moon mission, are able to send their assets up, but then the holy grail is verify them, tokenize them, and have another marketplace to trade ownership and rights of what they own in space. Okay, so it's not just about how do we give them access, it's how do we empower them to have assets that have a future value. This is on the way to the moon right now as we speak, okay? So as we're speaking, it's floating up there, headed towards the moon, scheduled to land on March 2nd. Who's on this? We got leading space companies. We got major crypto projects. Some of them are in the room. Catcoin's in the back, so shout outs to Catcoin. AI pioneers, so you're going to see some cool kind of playing around with AI stuff. And a lot more B2B. You can see some big names. We even brought in some, let's say, more traditional players. Once again, proving that there's a whole commercial market in space that space is actually not tapping. The other part, the consumers, the creators, we've built a wonderful creator base, a user base on the Copernic Space platform of people all around the world, space enthusiasts, artists, creators. Some of them are in the room right now. Some of you can even check out some of the stuff that's going on the mission, on the table. There's packages there. It ranges anything from, designs to art to music to the physical records themselves, because we're turning these things into what we call phygital. So once again, there's more capital and liquidity in these markets than if you took all those VCs and combined them together. That's the power of what we're unlocking here, while empowering those funds to invest and access space in a better way than they ever have before. But art is a big thing. Philanthropy is a big thing around what we do, and the creative class is big. So this is, for example, children's art from one of the Lady Rocket Foundation programs that we've implemented all around the world. So it doesn't always have to be a for-profit commercial thing, but we're also making art history, okay? So we've teamed up with select artists, select people around the world to take something that's really unique, take on-Earth assets, verifiably turn them into real-world space assets and create a whole new value, a whole new asset class, in this case of art, and a marketplace for these creators. Once again, they are in the room. You'll get to talk to them later as well. Talk to them. Learn about their experience of how they engaged in the space economy in a new way and what it means for them and why it's valuable. Okay? This includes also the sculptures, things that we're turning phygital once again. Own digital things on the moon. You get the physical original tied to it in the asset here on Earth. And I'm actually going to bring my mother back up for this one, because this collection has a particular story that's also decades in the making. And also Lady Rocket is going to bring another special guest that we have up here right after this to talk about, hey, how are we utilizing art and philanthropy and space and digital assets to create entirely new value here on Earth. This time, Marcy, you ready with the timeout? All right.
Thank you, Grant. This is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to my passion of transforming space and rockets into the new form of art gallery, financing, Sotheby's, entertainment, all combined together. And today I have a pleasure of introducing fine art collection, the Zelimir Illich collection, connected to Croatia and Bavaria. Zelimir Illich is a legend in IT marketplace, one of the first Compaq leaders. My former boss, when Compaq was ruling the world as a #1 PC company, Zelimir and I met. And I have to tell you that when given an opportunity to select a particularly unique art I connected with Zelimir, who lives in Munich. So this art collection is also introduced as a Bavarian art. And we have a double agenda here because we'll be introducing President of Bavaria to the fact that together with Zelimir Illich, we are sending a real collection of a real art. And I will introduce you to a sweet secret of new art sponsorship. We are sending it to the moon. Zelimir is a private collection. This art actually is placed in his beautiful residence in Grunwald, Munich, and catches life and art of Croatia. My favorite one is cats, because it also sends a message. These are the cats that survived the war in 1990s, remember, and the message is, war is not good for humans. Sometimes only cats survive. And we will be talking about cats in a moment. This is so-called phygital. You are able to acquire selected 8 pieces of original physical art combined with so-called digital, which is on its way to the moon, because rocket is going to the moon as we speak, circling planet Earth right now. Incredible show. Then we'll be circling the moon, then we'll be landing on the moon. So the value of this collection skyrockets with every orbit around the Earth and the moon. And I couldn't be happier because Zelimir is a passionate collector, philanthropist, and patriot. This is what we like to get. Create significant financial value, but also reward people behind it. So phygital, we can introduce you, potentially even offer opportunity to buy digital version and originals, which will be on the moon, that have the reflection of the actual paintings. Zelimir dedicated 40 years of his life to collect this collection. And we have some other collectors, very serious artists whose art attracts multi-million-dollar transactions, already part of the Lady Racket Foundation Lady Racket collection. Most of them are donating 50% of their art to Lady Racket Foundation because of the art involvement that we have. Copernic Space is the platform that allows us to do it, and is also a platform that attracts incredible partners with whom we have fun, with whom we are doing some exceptional things. Hold those, oh, you switch the cats. Okay, wonderful. I have a pleasure to introduce Mark Donovan, who is an investor in Copernic Space, my cat partner, philanthropist, a man of significant distinction, that I am going to ask a question and then ask you, Mark, to answer. And then I will be talking about my cats a little bit. Why cats? I'm sure there's a lot of you who love cats. Cats are a very big market, aren't they? How much?
I think today there's probably about 500 million cats living in homes in the world today, and maybe somewhere close to that same number on Earth that are unhomed, that don't have families to love them. Thank you, Lady Rocket. Hello, everyone. How many cat owners and dog owners do we have in the room? Yes. How many of you have pictures of your cats or dogs on your phones as we speak? Look at that. Don't pull them out or we'll lose you for the rest of the night. I know how that works, but I would encourage you later, pull those pictures out when you have time, when there's a break. Introduce your pets to your neighbors and others. I guarantee the energy in the room is going to get really positive and really high really fast. We love our pets like family, don't we? Yes, we do. In many cases, I know from consumer research I've done at Purina, we actually love our pets more than our family, which is kind of weird. That maybe is a societal problem. But anyway, I am Mark Donovan, pet care industry executive at Purina for a long time, pet tech founder, serial pet tech and AI platform inventor for predictive pet health solutions, former Air Force officer, former CrossFit coach and CrossFit gym owner. So if you give me a hard time, there are burpees in your future, I guarantee, and you won't like that. That won't be good. But tonight, I'm proud to share with you that I'm also a Copernic Space passport holder and investor, along with many other passport holders and investors that are here as well, right? I'm not a crypto guy. I'm not a Web3 guy. I'm not a blockchain guy. I know lots of other technologies, but this isn't my deal. But what Copernic Space has demonstrated is that someone like me who's not that can find their way into the space economy and do some really cool things that haven't been done before. And so tonight, I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to introduce you to the world's first crew of catronauts and space dogs orbiting the Earth as we speak, soon to be the first cats and dogs ever in the history of mankind, of catkind and dogkind, to land and live on the moon. We're going to do that. We're going to be the first. As a matter of fact, I was telling one of our astronaut attendees tonight that just before I arrived, I had an opportunity to patch into Mooncat Mission Control. This is where they were able to connect me directly with Commander Barkley, who you see up here on the left, and Major Whiskers. They're busy in space right now trying to keep this mission going, but they wanted me to assure you that all of our Moon Mission 1 payload is great. So all of our passport holders, thumbs up, your stuff is doing well. This crew is really excited about translunar injection, scheduled to happen here pretty quick. It's going to be sending this lander on to the moon, to orbit the moon, to land on the moon. Wonderful things are going to happen. These guys are excited. But their arrival on the moon is just the first of many future journeys to come. And what they really wanted me to impress upon you is this isn't about just something cool and the opportunity to buy something cool. This is about investing in doing good things for all things that are living on Earth, because a large portion of what any revenue that's made from all of this is going to be plowed back into programs that do good things for us here on Earth. And as well, a passion for mine is, who can imagine, as humans inhabit space for long periods of time away from family, friends, loved ones, are we going to do that as the only species that leaves this planet? Or are we going to want to take those companion animals with us that are going to be the ones to provide joy and companionship that we're going to need to live healthy, safe lives and pets? And there's research that needs to be done today to enable that to happen. And so we want them to come with us. So thank you. Thank you, Lady Rocket, for letting me share.
Thank you so much. So those are digital space assets. They are available for adoption, including also Lady Rocket's collection of cats. They are adoptable even when they will land on the moon. Find out the prices later. Back to you, Grant.
Yeah, and of course you can connect. We're going to do an after thing. You can connect with Lady Rocket, Mark, of course, myself, talk more about this later. What's next? You guys are getting first access. You guys are the first people seeing this stuff, getting a preview to it. Take advantage of that. Feel special. Supposed to launch on March 2nd. Then we're going into verification, tokenization of those assets, enabling the users on our platform who own them to then list them if they want on our marketplace and begin the first trade of real-world space assets on the lunar surface in human history. And then we're preparing for Moon Mission number 2 with SpaceBit. And why we're here in the first place is to celebrate this wonderful nation and its foundational documents that gave us the opportunity and capability to even do something as crazy as this, right? Which is the United States Constitution. The digital version went up on this mission. We're going to verify, tokenize that, leave that up to someone to be, a proud owner of. And even bigger and better is on the next mission. We're doing the physical one. All right. So a physical legacy of this country, its foundational documents on the lunar surface. And without further ado, I want to introduce someone that actually I met about a decade ago. When I was building CoinFirm, he was building his own blockchain company in London at the time. Never did I think that 10 years later we're going to be doing moon missions together. I mean, who the hell can foresee that sort of thing? But also someone who is right along with me in the timeline of being visionary of how to implement and utilize blockchain in the space economy. A visionary and a great partner of Copernic Space in his own right. I want everybody to welcome Pavlo of SpaceBit onto the stage to share some great words with you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Grant, for introduction. And, thank you, everyone, for coming here for this wonderful evening that you share with us. It's a great pleasure to work with Grant. As Grant said, we're working on moon missions, we're working on robots, and also we're developing a rocket. I'm originally from Ukraine, and we hope to revive Ukrainian rocket, which Elon Musk believes is second best. It's called Zenit. So that's something that we're working on as well. But I'm here to talk about moon. So we already had one moon mission last year with Astrobotic. We went all the way to the moon. Unfortunately, we didn't land, and we hope to correct it with this mission and with the assets that are flying during this mission. So during the next flight that we go, in less than 12 months, we will be delivering a physical copy of the Constitution, as well as we will be working on the robot that we're developing. So that's the robot, that's the initial concept of the robot that I developed. We thought it would be just 10 by 10. In reality, it's a bit bigger now, and I'll show you the robot a bit later. But it's very small. So if you look at all the robots that have been developed, our robot is tiny. And that's actually me standing. And that's how we got to the moon last time, with NASA Clips and Astrobotic. So we almost made it. And we're gonna try it again. That was the location that we intended to land. That's actually me saying goodbye to our payload. As we about to depart, it was in Pittsburgh, where the payload was integrated. And yeah, that was basically just before going up, not far from here. It was quite noisy. And that's how the rocket went into space. And I would like to show you our robot. It's just here. So that's the robot. And as you can see, it's a bit different. So how it's different, there is no wheels here. And we humans have legs, we walk, and I decided, and my engineers hate me, that we should have robots that also walking, not basically kind of turning the wheels. And we have this walking robot that we tested all around the world, and the next destination actually will be in Iceland. And we have here head of the Icelandic Space Agency, and he will say a few words about that as well. And yeah, so this is a small robot that is going to fly to the moon, and we will be putting digital and physical assets on this robot. And why on legs? Well, you know that there is a rugged terrain on the moon, and you can't always just use wheels to go to some interesting places, and especially to the caves. Well, you know that humans used to live in the caves many thousands of years ago. And on the moon there are caves, just very similar to what we have on Earth, the lava tubes. And we and NASA actually as well believe that those lava tubes can be used for human habitation. And in order to explore those lava tubes, you need robots like this that will enter the lava tube, go there, and tell us what's inside. So I'm going to hand this to Philip, and he'll put it there for you to see a bit closer. Well, this is a model, but still kind of representation of what is going up there. Lunar caves. So this is actually part of our mission picture from Astrobotic flight. You can see that the star is not dot, it's kind of a line, which is a bad thing. We started to rotate, and then obviously fuel started leaking, and we didn't get all the way to the moon. But it was still a victory for everyone, for Astrobotic, for NASA, for us, as we got as close as we can to the lunar orbit. Unfortunately, we were told to get it back and burn in the Earth atmosphere, and Astrobotic and us were very kind of unhappy with this. And this is what we did for Ukraine during the last mission. This was a Ukrainian plate. It's not only, there's a map of Ukraine and with the heart for Ukraine. I was born in Ukraine, even though I'm British, and now working with Copernic Space, with NASA Clips, such as Astrobotic, to deliver space assets. My heart still beats with every Ukrainian heart. We also sent a painting to the moon. Was interesting. We did it, and it was first painting to actually go to the moon. Well, I would like to thank you once again for coming here on a relatively short notice, and I would like to invite you to our next event, which will be in DC in 2 months' time, and I hope to see your faces again. And we can talk, we can collaborate, we can discuss. And if you have any questions about what we do or what Grant does, I would be more than happy to answer those questions. But I also want to thank my mother, who is here. And she was really, really helpful in my childhood. So when I was 9, it's a personal thing I have to share because my mother is here. When I was 9, I wrote a letter to my mother saying, well, I don't know what I will do in the future, but it will be related to space. And I kept the promise and she kept the note. So, yeah, that's part of the history. And we also have our engineers here. Thank you very much. And Henry, thank you for helping as well. So we have a relatively big American team. So everyone, thank you very much. And before you go, I would like the head of Space Agency from Iceland to tell us a little bit about the future of moon exploration and potentially partnership that we and Iceland are going to do in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo. Thank you. Has anybody been to Iceland here? You have some hands? Right. Well, I'm sure one reason you went, and one thing that you noticed when you went there, is that it has an otherworldly landscape. And people have commented about that for decades. And it would be no surprise to learn that, in fact, many science fiction films have been shot in Iceland. Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey, Oblivion with Tom Cruise, Star Wars Rogue One, Prometheus, the list goes on and on. But what few people know is that at the dawn of the space age, in 1965 and 1967, all of the original Apollo astronauts came to Iceland. They came to train and conduct geological field research that would inform their future moon landings. And indeed, on July 20th, 1969, when the Eagle lander touched down at Tranquility Base, Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, stepped off and looked out over that lunar landscape and said, "This looks a lot like Iceland." And since then, space agencies, planetary scientists have continued to come to Iceland to test the technology and conduct the vital planetary science, which is informing current missions and the future of space exploration. And that's because Iceland has the most diverse set of terrestrial analogs. These are areas that have characteristics and attributes similar to what can be found on the moon, Mars, Venus, Europa, and other heavenly bodies. And with that, about 8 years ago now, the Iceland Space Agency was organized, and we worked very closely with our colleagues at NASA, the European Space Agency, and from the private sector. And I am very proud and excited to talk about the partnership that we're mentioning for the first time publicly tonight with SpaceBit, where we will be testing the technology, the rovers, and the operational procedures which will be going to the moon, Mars, and beyond. So very excited to embark on this mission with Pablo, and looking forward to speaking to you all tonight. If you have any questions about Iceland or testing, I'd be very happy to speak to you about it. Thank you.
Without them, it won't happen. We were in Europe and they were preparing this here in the US. Thank you very much. Oops. Sorry. Grant, please.
Everyone give a round of applause to Pablo. Pablo's a visionary, what he's doing. Listen, guys,
Here's the opportunity once again, is that this isn't a space event where we're coming up and we're saying, just look at the cool scientific things that we're doing when it comes to space. We're providing you the unique opportunity to become, plant your flag, become that stakeholder, become that early player in what once again is going to become probably the largest market, and once again what we're turning it into, an asset class on Earth, in the history of Earth. So whether you want to find out how you can become a bigger part of Copernic Space, our future missions, you heard the term passport holder get brought up. I can tell you what that means. You want to participate in Moon Mission number 2 with Pablo, just so you guys know, remember I was talking about those standards. We're going to take our whole standard class that we've built up until this point, and we're going to apply it to Pablo's mission. That means physical, hardware, digital, and the next big real-world space asset class or type that we're building is the data standard, meaning all that wonderful data and this innovative stuff that's being collected on the lunar surface by his mission. We're going to make that commercially available as well and open up as many alternative financing and opportunities around this. So Moon Mission number 2, Pablo's Moon Mission number 2 is going to be even more historic, even a bigger, wider class and opportunity than what we're already successfully proving with Moon Mission number 2. But don't worry, even though in a moment, in a tiny bit, we do have to leave this wonderful historic venue, but we're going to take you to somewhere else down the street where you'll get to know us a little bit better, a little bit more intimately, and you can let loose a little bit more, which put that up into your Google Maps, all that sort of stuff. The venue is ready for you. They're doing karaoke tonight, so if you want to embarrass yourself, I'll do it with you. You know, I'm a musician technically, but singing isn't my best one. But either way, once again, there's opportunities on the table. Quite literally, you can check out what wonderful people in this room have created that are going to the moon. Copernic Space is offering a bunch of opportunities with what we're doing. And of course, Pablo and Lady Rocket are there at your disposal to hang out with these visionaries and learn, you know, what they're looking to in the future. Remember this, guys. You are pioneers technically right now just by being here. Grab a hold of that opportunity, become a part of that opportunity. Just like Mark said, there's investors, shareholders of ours in this room. These are people that already took that step. And I want to thank and congratulate everybody who made this possible. Our passport holders, our creators, our users, our artists, our investors, our partners, Pablo, and all the rest of you who are here. So to the moon, literally, guys.